So this isn't really a review, it's more of a first impressions, so at least with me, you don't need to worry about there being a lot of spoilers. I know my co-host James likes to literally tell you every detail of the story. I'm not like that. I just want to give you my thoughts and opinions on this game. So, with that being said, this time on That Game Review Show, I'm your host Terrell, and these are my first impressions of Fire Emblem Three Houses. One last time, I want to just completely get this out of the way. This is a first impressions video. There won't be any serious story spoilers, but if you want a complete blind playthrough, stop watching now. I'll tell you how I feel about the game. I liked it. You're free to leave. Jeez. Some people, they just never listen, so gotta make sure it's clear. I think we're good now. Alright, on with the video. So in Fire Emblem Three Houses, you do end up taking up the role of a professor, and your job, pretty much, is to teach one of these three houses of students. You see, it's clever. It's in the name. How to be proper soldiers, or just get them to a point where they are a classification of knight, in a way. And you have three options. You have the Golden Deer, the Blue Lion, and the Black Eagles. For all intents and purposes, and for clarity, I've played the game through once, and that was my Golden Deer route, so I'm going to be talking about my experiences from that. However, my gameplay is mostly from my Blue Lions run, which I'm currently doing. So if things, for some reason, don't seem like they're matching up to what I say, it might be because of that. The reason for this is because the three houses have very distinct differences. The Golden Deer, from my experience, is mostly more long range and, ranged weapons in general, while the other two, I'm still figuring out. Blue Lions are more spear heavy, it seems. But this is really cool. I really like this concept because it's not going to be the same thing but with different characters. It really is going to be a separate playthrough and a separate strategy for each playthrough, which I find just phenomenal, because if it was just a reskin with different characters, it would just be kind of lazy. But I do like the fact that, like a good strategy game would, because, Fire Emblem's not a good strategy game or anything, they have differences in its combat and how you need to approach each and every battle. And I like that. I like that a lot. However, there really is more to this game than you may think. You're not only just taking them through mock battles or teaching them how to fight in battle or anything like that. No, you're an actual teacher. You've got to think of who you want to teach and what skills you wish to improve in them so they can be better in your next battle. This game operates off of a month system, and within that month you do things on the weekends, on Sundays, to best improve the morale and get to know your students better, because there's things that play into that. And you can have a better support system, so if certain units or certain characters are standing next to each other, they can get buffs and bonuses and stuff like that in battle. As well as every Monday, you come up with who you're going to directly help there and then and teach them, like, one-on-one, as well as you will decide who's going to do these group tasks, who's going to do this and who's going to do that. And at the end of the week, you'll see all of their stats go up, and it's really nice to have that feeling. And it kind of gives you that balance of gameplay that, if it was just a strategy game similar to, let's say, XCOM or Civ, it would get really tedious really quick, because a lot of the battles, honestly, would feel samey. But this gives it that good bit of story that I think really props Fire Emblem up comparatively to its counterparts, because it's not just about the gameplay. The gameplay is probably a weaker part of the game. It's the story that truly holds it up. And I absolutely applaud the game for its storytelling. The voice acting itself, from my personal opinion, seems a little iffy and kind of feels like they're all speaking the same. And okay, so just in general, it's not the best English translation. It's not the best English dub. The translation itself is fine. I'm mainly talking about the dub. It's like there's no real expression in their voice. All the lines just kind of, in my personal opinion, have felt really just not phoned in, but they're delivered the same. If you pay just purely attention to the writing, though, you will find that it is actually a very compelling story, and that these characters are something you can attach to, even though you don't really completely believe that they're a person, because they just don't have a full personality. They have a personality, and all of the characters are very different, but the way they deliver their lines, it's just like, come on, guys, you could do a little better. You will find yourself, just based off of the writing, getting attached to these students and loving them all the same, because they're written so well, and it doesn't matter what, they just come across so great. You are in complete control of which house you join, which one you work with, how many of them you work with, whether you recruit them or not. The possibilities are almost endless, and really just kind of leave it up to you, and it's kind of nice to be able to just have that freedom with the game, because maybe you want to play in this specific house, but you feel like this one person from the other one is going to be a good fit. If you can train up your skills well enough within your class, as well as your individual talking relationship with them, you will easily be able to recruit them into your class. Do I recommend this all the time? No. I feel the amount of students that you have in each class is a good number, and the classes balance themselves out really well as soon as you learn their strategies. But the option is there. What are you going to be doing when you're playing Fire Emblem Three Houses besides teaching and helping students get better at being soldiers? Pretty much the gameplay is equal parts that. You'll either be going around the monastery known as Garrett Mach and, getting to know students, interacting with students, cooking with students, eating with students. You're hanging out with your students a lot in this game, because they play a very crucial part in the entire game, so you might as well get to know them and get to like them. Or you're teaching her on the battlefield. Teaching is not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. It helps you out a ton, but the fighting is where it really shines. You will be out on the battlefield a lot. You'll be either practicing battles, you'll be doing side missions, or you'll be doing main quests at the end of each month. Whatever it may be, these battles can range, depending on how you play them, from like 15-20 minutes to 45 minutes. I used 45 minutes for a lot of my first ones while I was developing my strategy, and then after that I was able to go through them really easily. It's also a great deal of a video game. You're getting your entire money's worth of $60 upfront, because you're practically paying for one playthrough in that $60 if you go by a $1 per hour method like I like to use. So $1 per hour, you're getting 3 times the amount, because for my first playthrough it took me about 60 hours. Some people takes about 50, some people take a little longer. I was on the longer side. But the thing is, there is so much content there for you to have that it's practically a no-brainer. Pick it up and enjoy it. It is worth your money 3 times over, practically. So you're going to be spending a lot of time in these battles, but the question is, how do you make yourself stronger? How to make yourself better outside of just, teaching and battling? Well, remember how I said that all the students have goals? You're going to want to pay attention to those goals, because that'll help you assign which tests, certification tests, to give them, and that'll give them a new class, a new thing to do. You can turn some of them into wyvern riders, you can turn some of them into, paladins, and, monks and clerics and things like that, just to make them stronger. Put them on a horse, gives them a little bit more speed. These things that you are no-brainers, but you gotta have your characters ready to take these certification tests. So you got to level up their skills, got to look at the percentages, look at what they want to do, because they'll change, and then you got to start tailoring their new experiences and just really helping them achieve their new goals and limits that they set for themselves, and even at times feeling like the true teacher and pushing them beyond those barriers to really make them something great. And it's a great dynamic from someone who wanted to be a teacher. Just personally, I love the feeling that I can just help these students progress in becoming what they truly want to be, or maybe helping them discover that, you know, being a knight is going to be great for supporting themselves, but they have a true passion that lies somewhere else. And doing stuff like that just always makes me so happy, because it's what I wanted to do for the longest time and still have a very big spot in my heart for. Just like with any proper quote-unquote review or first impressions, I gotta tell you how the game runs. The game runs incredibly well for being on the Switch. It's truly ambitious. The size and scale of Garrick Mach and making it a pretty much open world is just phenomenal to me. I love it. I love the detail that they did put into it, and there's a lot of stuff to do. The only noticeable notes I have of where the game lacks is when you're running around and you can sprint around Garrick Mach to get to places faster. The frame rate can chug a little bit. It's not really that noticeable because it dips way down and then shoots right back up. So it's just kind of, you see it slow down and then it continues back to where it was. It's a small little nitpick, but you know what? It's something. As well as they kind of failed with the soundtrack, and not in the traditional sense. The soundtrack itself is fantastic. It is not something I would listen to like I would, say, a Mario soundtrack, but it's perfect atmospheric music for the first 25 hours. After that, it just, you notice the loop a lot more, and you're just like, help me. It hurts. And then about the 60-hour mark, you're just like, yay, I've got 2 more runs with this music. And to which you just kind of turn down the game audio and listen to Spotify. That's what I've been doing, and it seems to be working out well. I think it's fair enough for me to say that I do truly recommend you pick up this game and give it a shot. I didn't ever think I would get into Fire Emblem games. I really never thought I would get into strategy games as a kid even, but strategy games have easily become one of my favorite genres of games. I can sit there and play them for hours and hours on end, but I still never thought I would truly get into Fire Emblem. I have my friend to thank for her interest into the game all of a sudden, and I absolutely loved the fact that I was able to, slowly build an interest and then pick up the game and absolutely love it. I plan to continue playing it. I plan to fully get through all of the routes and stuff in the game, but just based off of my first playthrough and so far into my second, which is another 10 hours, I can say that this game is so much worth the money, and I highly recommend you go and pick it up today. Get out here. What are you still doing here? Get out. Shoo. Get out of here. Go get it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching another video here on That Game Review Show. So I kind of phoned this one in, but at the same time, it was kind of last minute because I just picked up Fire Emblem a week and a half ago, and I've been playing it non-stop. I was planning on doing a VR game today, but yeah, I was like, you know what? Fire Emblem just sounds so much fun. I can't help but talk about this game, and I kind of wish I could have gone more in depth, but you know what? It's fine. Anyway, next week is Matthew's week. I'm sure he's got something amazing planned out for you guys, and I hope to see you guys back when I do another video here in a couple of weeks. Thank you, and I'll see you then.